Here we go. Before we get started, I wanted to begin with a question. And as a nurse, when we go in to assess a patient, before I ever use this tool, I ask the patient a question, and it is, how are you doing today? How are you feeling? And depending on where that goes, I will eventually ask the patient, are you having any pain today? And so today I'm asking the question, how are you feeling today? And I have this, and I'll post it in the comments, but I've made this scale. And in the medical field, we use the Wong Baker Faces pain scale rating, and it's a 0 to 10 pain scale. 0 means no hurts, and of course, 10 means hurt the most. It was developed to help children communicate pain and is now used worldwide in every age. Every person is probably familiar with this scale. And so, on this particular scale, on this one, it's 0 is peace and anchored, followed by joyful, slightly distracted, busy, running on fumes, steady, heavy hearted, tired, deeply weary, and struggling. And so it's just a question. It's to help, and you may want to stop, take a deep breath. You may want to think about it, and just really be honest with yourself. Asking that today, when we ask, a patient's pain, it helps us with the assessment. It helps us manage pain, and pain can be addressed, whether that's medication, certain treatments that we can provide a patient. And so, as in the same way as in struggling, suffering, and all that, you need to come to that question of how are you feeling today. Some of you may not be asked, and so I'm asking today, how are you feeling? And the step towards recovery, towards healing, begins with that question. There must be an acknowledgement, there must be some admission to pain. So, for instance, when I see a patient, I walk in the room and I ask them, how are you feeling today? Are you having any pain? If the patient doesn't have any pain, or at least admit it, I can't help them. But when the patient says, yes, I'm experiencing pain today, it's a level 6, 7, 8, 10, then I can go to the patient's file. What do they have ordered? How can I treat this? And I will treat the pain, or give the patient, administer pain medication according to the level of pain. And so a patient may have more than one thing ordered. So if a patient's just, well, I'm kind of in pain or a little bit of pain, then they get a little bit of medication, whereas the patient with a level 10 will be treated differently. And so the same thing happens with us when we are seeking help. We first acknowledge and admit there's something wrong, we need help. And God will meet you exactly where you are. In my testimony here, um, God met me right where I was. And in this particular situation, there was so much going on that I didn't even know where to begin or what to ask, what I was even asking or praying for. But God met me right where I was, and I was not in the right standing. I had walked away from my relationship with God, and He still answered, and He'll answer you. And so I do want to read um, a couple of inserts from my book. This was my prayer. It's a prayer for help in a time of trouble. This was my lowest. This was pure chaos. I didn't even know what to say in my prayer except help. And then I wrote this one day in my journal during all this, and it is Psalm 6, 1 through 10, and I'm going to read it now. Lord, don't be angry and rebuke me. Don't punish me in your anger. I'm worn out, O Lord. Have pity on me. Give me strength. I am completely exhausted, and my whole being is deeply troubled. How long, O Lord, will you wait to help me? Come and save me, Lord. In your mercy, rescue me from death. In the world of the dead, you are not remembered. No one can praise you there. I am worn out with grief. Every night my bed is damp from my weeping, and my pillow is soaked with tears. I can hardly see. My eyes are so swollen from the weeping caused by my enemies. Keep away from me, you evil people. The Lord hears my weeping. He listens to my cry for help and will answer in prayer. My enemies will know the bitter shame of defeat. In sudden confusion, they will be driven away. Psalm 6, 1 through 10. And so that's just something for you today, is ask yourself, how are you feeling? And rate that on this scale, and then ask God to help. And you may not know what you need help with. It's too chaotic possibly, but he will meet you right where you're at. And so I do want to share this last thing from my book. It's about God hearing us when we ask for help. I was about 16 years old, working an evening shift after school at a popular fast food restaurant. The drive through slowed down, allowing me to tend to the tasks that were hard to get to when it was busy. I restocked cups, lids, condiments, and Happy Meal boxes and cleaned my area. While I was cleaning, I noticed a device I had never seen before under the register. I looked at it thoroughly and thought it resembled a garage door opener and began to wonder what it operated. I found no identifying information, so I pressed the single button on the front and waited for something to happen. I scanned all the screens and gadgets, and nothing was visibly changing. I looked at the workers around me to see if they noticed anything happening. They continued in their normal activities. I assumed they witnessed no changes. I listened very carefully and heard nothing out of the ordinary. I continued to search for something to change, and nothing happened. I finally concluded it was a lost item, figuring a worker placed it there in case someone who was looking for it. So I put it back where I found it. I went back to cleaning and restocking. As I walked towards the front counter, all of a sudden lights and sirens surrounded the place within seconds. Men in uniforms rushed inside and with, sorry, I lost my place, asked with urgency what was going on. I was unaware of anything, shrugging my shoulders. The manager came to the front to greet the members of law enforcement. The manager also asked around, and no one knew. A member of the law enforcement team said, "Ma'am, someone hit the panic button." I immediately felt a heat wave rush through me and embarrassment struck me. I grabbed the device I found a few moments ago and asked, "Is this the panic button?" The manager confirmed it was. I admitted it was me with a sheepish smile and apologized. The law enforcement team seemed relieved as it was a false alarm and left immediately. The manager chuckled about it and I apologized once more. I bring this story up for one reason, and it relates to the panic button. I was awestruck at the power of a button in the drive-thru. I realized what was possible if a simple with a simple press of a button. I knew if danger presented in that restaurant, a rescue plan would be activated immediately at the touch of a button. I had faith in the reliability and certainty of the drive-thru panic button. I saw an image of our prayers in times of trouble as our own personal panic button. Our prayers, a panic button, are sent directly and immediately to our Heavenly Father in heaven. The very moment I prayed to my Heavenly Father in times of trouble, He initiated a rescue plan. Just as I was unaware of the law enforcement rescue plan that day, I would not be able to see God's rescue plan being activated. I would not see heavenly actions being taken on my behalf. I would not hear God's whispers being disclosed to his disciples, whispers containing well timed acts of love, serving as reminders of his presence and steadfast love. We serve the God of angel armies, and I would not see him give angels charge over me. I knew with certainty the police would rescue me if I activated the panic button at the restaurant. So, how much more would our Father act on our behalf when we activate the panic button prayer to him? And I end with this verse. The very moment I call to you for a father's help, the tide of the battle turns and my enemies flee. Psalm 56:9. That's the Passion Translation. So today, ask yourself, how are you feeling? And then think about it. And God will meet you wherever you're at on this chart. Thank you.